Has Apple lost its smartphone mojo? Investors aren't pleased. To help us find out why and put it in perspective, we have Executive Director at Strategy Analytics, Neil Mawston. He joins us now from London. Neil, thanks for being there.
Hey, Simon.
Hey, so, I mean, Apple, the expectations were running rather high, as it always is with Apple, because they have a reputation for sort of, doing very, very well. What happened this time that was so disappointing for investors?
Yeah, good question, Simon. I think it's important to recognise that Apple is still a very profitable company, still sells a lot of iPhones and iPads and other gadgets. So they are doing still fairly well, but of course investors always want more. The iPhone is slowing down a little bit. The iPad is not quite as strong as it once was. iPod volumes are slowing quite dramatically. So just like the pressure is on Mr. Obama in your previous segment here on this show, Mr. Cook, the CEO of Apple, is also under a little bit of pressure to recover Apple's mojo.
Yeah, and that's the difficult thing, isn't it? Because the smartphone market is growing really quite rapidly, and Apple isn't doing as well, is it? And we're seeing profit margins shrink. I mean, there was it was close to 50% not that long ago, and now it's down. First quarter of 2014, 37.9, 38%, so almost 40%. So a big dip there. So it looks like, these profit margins squeezed and growth slowing.
Yeah, I mean, the key thing to look at is between about 2007 and 2012, that was effectively the golden age of Apple, I think, within the iPhone and iPad, smartphone and tablet industries. Apple was growing at an above average rate during that period. But in 2013 and moving into 2014, Apple is now starting to grow at a below average rate in some areas. So it's getting a little bit saturated in some of the high-end markets that it plays in across the United States and Europe. And Apple is really looking for new growth areas for the future. So the pressure is really on to find new products and new markets that can revitalize Apple's stock.
So one of the things that we know about Apple is that historically, or at least over the last 20 years, they've introduced products that you didn't know you wanted. Right? You didn't know you wanted it until you saw it, and then you had to have it. First, I mean, the iPod was the big game changer there, but I mean, it goes back even beyond that. Is that something we just say, okay, we just got to trust, and they'll come up with something that you just have to have?
Yeah, exactly. I think Apple's created a rod for its own back in many ways. They've simply out-innovated so many times and impressed so many times in the past. Investors expect them to out-innovate in the current and future time as well. So the iPad, the iPhone, the iPod, the Mac, everything, there's been so many great products out there. Investors expect great products in the future, so that the pressure is really on. Whether those revolutionary products come from smartphones, bigger smartphones with bigger screens, for example, or from tablets with bigger screens, or with televisions with bigger screens, wherever it comes from, the pressure really is on Apple now to deliver.
And we have to leave it there. Thank you very much. Neil Mawston of Strategy Analytics in London. We appreciate your time, sir.